Tonight, masks mandatory, why that could soon be the case in Duluth and when it could happen.
And staying COVID-free, how a veterans home up Highway 61 is keeping coronavirus out of their building.
Plus, a final farewell. The Iron Range says goodbye to a World War II hero who died in June.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Baki.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. In about 2 weeks, elected officials in Duluth are expected to take up an ordinance that would make mask wearing mandatory in many places.
The announcement was made today during a virtual news conference with city leaders and local health officials. It would require people to wear a mask in indoor public spaces. CBS 3's John Cardinelli listened in to the press conference, and he tells us what sparked the ordinance.
Members of the community have really spoken out when it comes to the use of face masks in public. A petition was signed with over 1,500 signatures, and it caught the attention of the Duluth City Council. The overall goal of the ordinance is to advance businesses while protecting Duluth residents and the tourists that visit. Councilor Eric Forsman says the ordinance would only include indoor public spaces where businesses with the public is conducted. This would include places like businesses, churches, nonprofits, and governmental entities. However, there are some exemptions to the ordinance. People eating and drinking at restaurants would not be required to wear masks. Schools, child care facilities, and fitness facilities with plans in line with state guidelines will also not be affected. Those who do not comply could face legal action.
We're going to be reasonable. The goal here is not enforcement, but if folks are being unreasonable and there's egregious and multiple violations, there is an escalation in the fine process that can occur.
Health experts say wearing masks is especially important for people on the 20 to 29 age demographic, as that group has seen the largest number of cases recently. The City Council will vote on the ordinance at the July 13th meeting. If passed, it will go into effect immediately. And coming up later on tonight, we'll hear from the Duluth community and their reaction to this ordinance.
All right, thanks, John. And let's take a quick look at the weather. Dave, a possibility for some rain out there tonight, huh?
Yeah, the chances out there. We've got one last low pressure system on our horizon slated to pass through tonight. So let's move into a live look at what's happening out there as we cast our eye towards the Twig area. The sky above, clouds keep increasing, although the roads below are still on the drier side. But 50 to 60% chance that situation will change here tonight as that occluded low from the west glides through the area, bringing that 50 to 60% chance of rain, like I mentioned, going away probably early tomorrow morning, then being replaced by a cell of high pressure that'll pull southerly winds into our region and make it even more warm and humid than it is already. Our forecast then for Thursday, the day planner, it says patchy fog possible in the morning, low temp in the 60s when you wake up. Then by lunchtime, it becomes partly cloudy and dry, up towards 80. And then coming back home later in the afternoon, early evening, mostly sunny sky hits us from the high pressure cell. And here in Duluth, at least up over the hill, it could hit 89 degrees. I think there's going to be a couple of places towards the Iron Ranges and down towards the Hayward Lakes area that are indeed going to cross the 90 threshold. With our 7-day forecast, we'll talk about how long the heat and humidity will stick around.
Thanks, Dave. Around the country and here in Minnesota, nursing homes have seen the brunt of COVID-19 cases and the impact that comes with it. But one North Shore veteran home has managed to keep cases out. CBS 3's Emma Quinn spoke with those at the home to see what they've been doing while keeping residents' spirits alive.
Here at the Minnesota Veterans Home in Silver Bay, strict precautions have been implemented since March to keep veterans and staff safe due to the pandemic. The Veterans Home staff purchased iPads for all residents in order to keep in touch with family and friends, as visits were put on hold. All activities they've been doing are limited to a small group of residents and staff to keep social distancing measures in place. Officials say many residents who stay there have pre-existing conditions, which can increase their risk of exposure, so they've had to be extra careful.
Once a virus such as the COVID-19 comes into a facility with such vulnerable adults, it can be very devastating and disastrous for a population.
Staff say they have a quarantine space set up if a resident were to get infected. Staff are taking a health screening prior to entering the building and wearing masks and face shields while in the building. One other precaution that was taken during the pandemic was deciding to cancel the veterans' annual fishing trip.
All All right, thanks, Emma. Coming up tonight at 10, we'll hear from one resident about his experience during the pandemic and why he's extra thankful for the staff.
The Wisconsin DNR held a virtual public hearing this afternoon, getting public feedback on the proposed Enbridge Line 5 reroute. Enbridge is working to reroute the pipeline after the Bad River Band filed a lawsuit to move the original Line 5 off their reservation. Enbridge still needs state and federal permits to move forward with the project. The reroute would be about 40 miles long. Enbridge reps say they considered 4 different routes.
Our route analysis really focused on minimizing the length of the pipeline to the extent practical while protecting resources and, still being responsive to landowner and community inputs.
The public comments submitted during this afternoon's virtual hearing will be included as part of the project's environmental impact statement. If you missed the hearing, you can submit comment through email, and the Postal Service will have those details on our website.
Meanwhile, in Ashland, many came out to protest against the relocation of Line 5. The protest started in Memorial Park, where people made signs for the 2.5-mile march to Enbridge Bunker. One of the protesters, Paul DeMaine, says the goal of the protest is to raise awareness about the harm these projects could do to the environment and to act as a voice for the earth.
We're speaking for the water, we're speaking for clean air, we're speaking for clean resources, clean food, local self-sustainability, and a move toward the green energy industry, that we need to make sure that life on this earth lives for another 1,000 years.
DeMaine and many other protesters say they want companies to start using green and renewable energy sources.
A Canal Park restaurant is temporarily closed due to COVID concerns. Lake Avenue Restaurant and Bar posted on their Facebook page today. The closure comes after one of their employees tested positive for the coronavirus. The Post says the business is focusing on getting the rest of the employees tested. They will continue to follow cleaning and disinfecting guidelines and keep the public informed on their plan for reopening moving forward. Meanwhile, Madison, Wisconsin is closing indoor service at bars due to an increase in coronavirus cases. A recently issued order allows bars in Madison to continue patio service and serving people inside, but only at 25% capacity. Bar owners are reportedly challenging the order, which was put in place by health officials.
A local war hero was laid to rest this morning. Stanley Savar was a World War II veteran from Hibbing. We first introduced you to him in September when someone stole an American flag from his home. It was very special to him because it was given to him by his only living son. Community members rallied to get Savar a new flag. Then, a few months later, Congressman Pete Stauber delivered with the flag flown over the U.S. Capitol. This morning, community members stood together for Savar again, this time with great memories as the 92-year-old veteran received his final flag. Stauber was an honorary pallbearer but wasn't able to make it, so his wife Jody helped carry Savar's casket.
It was a big honor to be invited because Stan is part of the greatest generation. He served our nation proudly, and he's given a lot to our country, and we need to remember that.
Savar served in the Navy at the rank of Seaman Second Class.
5 days after a hit-and-run crash just outside of Duluth, one of the victims is still in critical condition tonight. Family members say Thomas Parrish, pictured on the left, is hospitalized in the Twin Cities. He, his wife, brother, and dad were on their way to the beach Friday afternoon. About a half-mile from home, they were stopped at the Midway and Stark Road intersection just west of Proctor. That's when a pickup truck rear-ended them and sent their Subaru into oncoming traffic, where it was struck by another vehicle. The driver of the pickup truck fled the scene. The 4 people inside the Subaru and the driver of the oncoming vehicle were taken to the hospital. Everyone but Thomas has since been released. Family members say Thomas was sitting in the passenger seat. He had a shattered pelvis, but managed to get himself out of the car and help the others. A GoFundMe has been set up for the family. It's already raised more than $27,000. We have a link on our website. Meanwhile, as we reported last night, the driver of the pickup truck has been charged with 5 counts of criminal vehicular operation.
One person is dead and another injured after a crash on the Iron Range. The crash happened around 8 o'clock Tuesday night on Highway 73 near Hibbing. Authorities say 49-year-old Thomas Olson from Virginia, Minnesota, rear-ended a Range Rover while headed south. Authorities say Olson was not wearing a seatbelt. He died at the scene. The driver of the Range Rover, a 62-year-old Apple Valley man, had non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is under investigation.
Still to come, plans to rebuild now that the dust has settled in Minneapolis. So look at how business owners are recovering from several nights of violent unrest last month.
Today's high temp in Duluth was 10 degrees warmer than normal, but not high enough to knock down the record 99 from 1883. Well, tomorrow, some towns could cross into the 90s once again. Don't think it'll be that warm, but it could be humid enough to make you think you were close to 100. We'll talk about how long the trend will last coming up after our break.
Live, local, CBS3 News at 6 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, Kelly Hinson, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, local, CBS3. CBS3 News is brought to you by Steel Power Tools.
Schneiderman's helps you celebrate life's happiest moments when everyone has a spot. Even spot. It's BOGO time at Schneiderman's. Buy one item and get another half off during the 4th of July sale at Schneiderman's Furniture.
Stone Countertop Outlet has thousands of slabs in stock. Every single one has a high-res photo online, making virtual design consultations easy. Visit stonecountertopoutlet.com or our new Superior showroom.
We all deserve more summer. So DQ is bringing you 2 summer favorites in one. With the new Drumstick Blizzard with peanuts. A drumstick, the original sundae cone, and our world-famous vanilla soft serve. Let's fit more summer into every bite. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Hello, I'm Steve Little, owner of Bath Planet. We are excited about the reopening of our economy, so in celebration, I'm extending our special financing offer until the end of July. Right now, we are offering 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 2 years, so you can get the work done now and not have to pay for it until 2022. This offer ends July 31st, so call us today or go online to take advantage of this amazing offer. Bath Planet, out of this world service and down to earth price.
At Super One Foods, you'll find more than just low prices and better choices. You'll find friendly faces like ours, working hard to save you money.
Super One has a tireless commitment to quality and freshness and a goal of delivering 5-star service to every customer to bring the absolute best value to your shopping experience. Check out these specials available at all Super One locations going on now.
So stop into the Super One Foods right in your neighborhood. Super One Foods, serving you low prices and better choices.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Jenna Wells.
And we'll take a look at your weatherman's forecast and see how long those summer-like temperatures are going to last.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Start your day at 5 a.m. with Austin and Jenna on CBS3.
Schneiderman's helps you celebrate life's outrageous moments. More room for the king of the castle. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets, plus get $300 sleep cash only at Schneiderman Sleep.
The camera's on! Let's do some television!
On the next Game On,
it is Joe Becky
who do you think would be easier to take down in a wrestling match?
I think we could probably take them both down at the same time.
Oh, he's gonna die.
How will you survive?
I can't see! Ow.
Game On. New episode tonight on CBS.
Catch Eye on Parenting every Thursday at 6 with me, Leanne Valdez, on CBS3.
CBS3 Weather is brought to you by Lulich Implement. Now, the CBS3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
Now we eye up the high temperatures around the region. Just a few minutes ago, I mentioned that Duluth's high temp over the hill hit 85. Towards Orr made 88 degrees there. Ely did as well. And so did Moose Lake. That was a common theme around our area because Ashland had a top temp in that range, and so did Ironwood. Well, tomorrow, I think places like Hayward and up towards International Falls and maybe even Hibbing will crack 90 degrees by at least a degree, maybe even a couple here, as our warm spell continues. Now, tonight, a low pressure system will try to feast on that warm, humid air we have in place here and bring us a rain chance. If it'll pay off, well, I'll show you what the latest chart indicates as far as what could come down. But right now, we'll go up to the airport in Duluth and take a look at the current conditions there, where it's 84 degrees and a reading of 56% for the relative humidity. South-southwest winds going 13 miles per hour. And of course, the southerly component of that wind is bringing in the heat and the humidity. Dew points will be in the 60s and close to 70 for several more days. Current temperatures still 86 to 87, running from Watersmeet towards Ironwood and Bessemer and crossing the border into Hurley. 80 in Ashland really seems like a very nice summer style temperature right now. 85 Hayward, 73 cooler by the lake in Superior, but 86 Moose Lake, 81 Silver Bay, 82 degrees in Ely. Wasabi range numbers running from 84 to 85, and it's the mid-80s in International Falls as well. I do think this warm spell will be with us for the next week, with high temps persistently in the 80s, at least away from the lake. Now, about a half hour ago or so, heard some reports that Fall Lake, close by Ely and Winton there, was getting a little bit of rain coming across, and a lot of us are hoping for rain to come across because it's still on the dry side. Right now, with a low pressure system coming in, we're getting some clouds, but precious little rain, whether you're in Minnesota, Wisconsin, or the Upper Peninsula. But there is a 50 to 60% chance we'll at least get a little bit here as this conglomeration of fronts here associated with the secluded low work towards our area. If the chance, the 50 to 60% chance pays off, well, totals aren't going to be that impressive. Just about a trace. That's about it in Minnesota. And maybe in Wisconsin and the UP, we could go towards 1/10 of an inch. But another rain chance does come by Sunday, and that one may pack a little more of a punch. And so hopefully it holds off through the 4th of July and then brings us the rain on Sunday. Maybe we can time it that way. Minnesota tonight will have low temps in the 60s with that chance for the rain. And Wisconsin and Michigan gets that chance of rain as well, 50% chance there. Low temps in the low to mid 60s. For tomorrow, another warm one. Wisconsin, Michigan high numbers, narrow range on the toasty side, 88 to 90 with a partly cloudy sky building in towards mostly sunny as higher pressure takes over for a couple of days. Minnesota high temps, 70s by the lake, 85 to 90 inland. And warmth like that, like I mentioned, will be with us persistently here. Sunshine Thursday through Saturday once we get done with tonight's rain chance. Then the next rain chance, 50% chance, comes in on Sunday. And that one may bring us about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch according to the latest estimates here. But if that actually pays off, still remains to be seen. But we do have the chances, the 50% chances going through Tuesday, Tony. So optimistic, glass half full, rain gauge half full. I'm hoping that it does pay off through persistence.
For a long holiday weekend, that's some good barbecuing weather set up there for Friday and Saturday, though.
You know, it really is. And speaking of barbecuing, I think we'll be doing a little bit here ourselves on CBS3 at 5 o'clock.
Little teaser. Thanks, Dave.
In the days following George Floyd's death, riots and looters damaged historic parts of Minneapolis. Lake Street, Midtown, and West Broadway are all corridors that will need to be at least partially, if not completely, rebuilt.
The state wants to help rebuild with the community's input. Aaron Hazanzadeh spoke with Lake Street business owners about their vision for a comeback.
We are just trying to catch up and try to bring people back to the community, to the building.
Mercado Central on Lake Street is home to 40 micro businesses that are slowly coming back online after months of little to no business. First COVID, then riots, looting and damage, triggering further closures, and they're hardly alone.
How will we be able to keep people who suffer damage, whose buildings were burned, to be able to come back?
That question is something business owner Jose Payan is also asking himself.
On Lake Street itself, I have a tortilla bakery, and I distribute to a lot of these mom and pop stores. I have about 50 on Lake Street, and I'm going to say 20% of them are no longer open no more.
I want to thank you all for coming. The Minnesota House has a plan, the Promise Act, which passed during special session. There will be grants, loans, and direct funds given to people impacted along Lake Street and other hard-hit areas. Still, they're looking for input.
One way or the other, it's the state's job to provide for public safety. And whether that's at the city level or the state level, something fundamentally broke down.
Some fear too much change.
How can we work to avoid gentrification?
We really need to make sure that the communities of color, the entrepreneurs who've been investing and putting their whole heart and soul into these neighborhoods are able to return, grow, and thrive and be better than before.
Others say they liked it just the way it was and they want it back.
We did it 20 years ago. We can do it again. We can achieve that. We can make this the renaissance of Lake Street.
The state Senate is holding a hearing tomorrow about the rioting and looting that went on in Minneapolis and parts of St. Paul.
Coming up in sports, a former UMD defenseman is making his way to Philly to play in the NHL playoffs. Kelly Hinseth has the details coming up next.
Northwest Outlet is open for business. Now save up to 40% off store-wide.
CBS3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L-Series tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. Powerful Kubota diesel engine, ease of operation, and your choice of a dependable Kubota gear or HST transmission. The durable Kubota L-Series tractor. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo.
No one serves you better than Lulich Implement.
The camera's on! Let's do some television!
On the next Game On, it is Joel Becky! Who do you think would be easier to take down in a wrestling match?
I think we could probably take them both down at the same time.
Oh, he's gonna die.
How will you survive?
I can't see!
Game On. New episode tonight on CBS.
Our Northland may not have the longest severe weather season, but it does come around every now and then. I'm hoping folks will keep an eye to the sky and on Channel 3 here this summer. If severe weather threatens, Austin Haskins, Caitlin Moffat, and I will keep our eyes glued to the radar. We'll break in if you need to hear about the latest storm developments. We'll work together to keep our region safe.
Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS3.
Kelly Hinseth takes her job at full throttle. There's no slowing down. She's full of enthusiasm.
Kelly brings a youthful exuberance to the newscast. She's loaded with energy. She's really passionate about sports.
I think even if you're not interested in sports, she draws you in.
She's always up and ready to go and ready to show us the latest in sports.
Get to know Kelly Hinseth weekday nights on live local CBS3.
When news happens, CBS3 is there. We're cutting in with a follow-up to some breaking news.
Anytime, day or night, more cases of the coronavirus are popping up across the Northland.
The only confirmed cases in northeastern Minnesota.
Not go shopping today unless you absolutely must. Do not collect any supplies or equipment unless you absolutely need it today.
The Northland has seen its first coronavirus-related death.
For breaking stories that impact the Northland most, tune to CBS3.
When a crisis strikes, cash is the best form of relief. It can easily be transformed into health services, water, food, or clothes. Cash can travel everywhere and aid people all around the world. Donate. Smart. Fast. Donate cash.
Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS.
Back in May, the American Hockey League announced that it would not complete the remainder of their season due to the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving players like Duluth native Andy Walensky without a chance to complete his first season with the Lehigh Phantom. Well, now it looks like the UMD alum will get a shot to play with the Philadelphia Flyers as the NHL club makes a playoff run in the return-to-play postseason. The former Duluth East standout has certainly dealt with the roller coaster that is being a professional athlete over the past year. He was traded cross-country from the Anaheim Ducks to the Philadelphia Flyers at this time last year. A bump in the road then came in the form of injuries as the defenseman was preparing to make his debut. Now, fast forward to now, he's getting another shot with the NHL club.
I had a little bit of a frustrating year just with injury-wise, that kind of stuff, but, I was right there to being called up. So in this situation, obviously it's tough to plan for, but the biggest part was that I was close, throughout the year, and knowing that they're going to call some guys back, especially once the Flyers had done so well in the end of the season, earned a first seed in their division. So I think it was in the back of my mind, but at the same time, it was the toughest part, I think, was not knowing. Kind of was a week by week type of thing. And, it has come along so far. And now here we are in July and things are hopefully getting started back up. So.
And we've now entered the month of July, which in 2020 has become the unofficial month of the returning to pro sports, which will include Major League Baseball, the NHL, and the NBA by the end of the month. While the Timberwolves won't be returning this summer, the Bucks are coming back as the #1 seed in the East. Training camp begins on July 9th, which is a week from Thursday in Orlando, Florida. Superstar forward Giannis Antetokounmpo met with the media via a Zoom call today to discuss his thoughts on returning to basketball after 4 months off. He's disappointed that they won't get to reap the benefits of home court in the playoffs, but Giannis actually compares the Orlando campus environment to previous experiences he's had with the FIBA in Europe, living in close quarters with the very people he's competing against.
It's going to be hard. Obviously, when you go against somebody, you don't want to live with them. You don't want to see him every day. You don't want to go down and grab lunch or dinner and see them right there in front of you. But at the end of the day, I've done that before. I've played a couple FIBA tournaments. That's how it is in FIBA. So I just gotta stay locked in. My business. Don't say much. Obviously, I'm gonna see them, but they're gonna see me too. So it goes both ways.
Giannis also addressed the Bucks' chase for an NBA championship, which he says may have an asterisk on it, but not in the way you might think. And we'll find out what he meant tonight at 10. That's going to do it for sports for now. We'll have more here back tonight at 10. And Kristen and Tony, for now, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Kelly. And also coming up tonight, Duluth's new superintendent, John Megas, has had his first day on the job today. He's replacing former superintendent Bill Gronseth, who accepted a job in central Minnesota. Tonight on the CBS3 News at 10, we're sitting down with Megas to talk about the direction he wants to take the district and how he plans on achieving his goals. Well, today is a very peculiar day in the New York Mets history and a day that's become a holiday of sorts amongst baseball fans.
Yeah, it's Bobby Bonilla Day. Every year on July 1st, the Mets dish out about $1 million to the former player. His last game as a Met was in the fall of 1999, yet he'll get these payments every year until 2035. Short version of the long story, the Mets cut the superstar while still owing him about $6 million. Rather than pay that, they decided to make those deferred payments instead, and will end up shelling out about $30 million instead.
I'm no math wizard, but that doesn't add.
Yeah, my former boss is a Mets fan, and we talk about that every single year on July 1st. So happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah,
Richard.
Everyone wants a deal like that, right?
Yeah, I'd settle for $30. I'll see you guys next week. All right, forecast, what are we going to see through next week? Sunshine first, after some rain tonight, and then another round of showers and storms Sunday through Tuesday. High temps on the warm side, mid-80s to about 90, almost all week long.
All right, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again at 10.